Welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're here. It is great to see each and every one of you. It is my pleasure to announce Cheryl McClure. She is with Yours First Here. Cheryl is running a day-to-day operation of client-patient care and community education training, and she is certified for falls and balance instructor, certified for senior advisor, in CNA LVN trained, and dementia specialist. Today she is going to be giving us a topic on aging solo at home. I'm just going to kind of say what she said here. Aging solo can stir a range of emotions: freedom, independence, and choice, alongside the quiet question of what happens if I need help someday. So it's my pleasure to introduce Cheryl McClure, who will help you build the team that you need if that should happen to you. Sure.
Okay, we'll flip up, I guess. Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing? I'm going to try and stay within a very short distance since they're filming, because I have a tendency to wander. It's just a bad habit I have. So, show of hands, how many here right now are aging solo? Quite a few. If you kind of look around, and this is just my own observation, keep your hands up if you don't mind. Look around. How many women versus men? Women tend to outlive men. No offense, men, but it's immaterial basically, but women tend to, there's a disparity between, we all have our own challenges. So one of the most important things about living solo or even aging in place is health. Would you agree, disagree? It is your health. And what ends up happening, we plan for showers, gender reveals, weddings, all kind of birthday parties, it doesn't matter. But rarely do we plan for our aging journey.
Exactly.
And so that's another thing. I mean, people, when it comes to like, oh my gosh, I have to do a will or all that, nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to plan those types of things. And so unfortunately, you end up scrambling. You can easily get taken advantage of by people that know you're kind of in a crunch. I see this almost on the daily. I get a call. Someone has gone into the hospital. It's usually a daughter calling for a mother or father. They're in the hospital, but it's Friday and the hospital is going to kick them out. They need to send them home. They need help, like right now. Well, now you're in a hurry and your ability to make choices shrinks because you've gotten yourself into a little bit of a pickle. So sometimes I joke and I will say, well, did you think they were going to live there for the rest of their lives then? Well, no. So it's all about having that plan for an aging journey. I'm going to be talking about kind of a variety of things that hopefully won't confuse you, but I did do handouts so that you kind of are able to really kind of plan for your aging journey and even solo at home. One of the biggest problems, of course, with solo at home is companionship, socialization, and then when the stuff hits the fan and you need somebody. So I had two aging parents live together and everybody told me they were doing wonderful. They were in Ohio. When I finally, I went, it was during COVID, went up there kind of find out that what is doing well, what does that mean to my siblings? Because it wasn't what it meant to me. My father was not really able to walk. My mother was walking it was difficult for her, let's put it that way. But she had arthritis, couldn't open bottles, so he was opening things while she was running and getting things. They were playing off each other, and that's how they made it work. And I see this in so many situations. And then you lose that one of those people out of that couple, and what does that look like? My father passed before my mother, and my mom was insistent that she could stay in the house by herself. That's all I had to do was give her that stink eye look. No, you can't. And when we finally had to do something for her and make arrangements, because my mother was very physically challenged, she knew it was the best thing for her. But again, no plans. So I have fell in that trap myself, because we have older adults that are very independent, and I got this, right? How many times has someone in here thought, I got this? I got this. Don't tell me I got this. Don't worry about it. I'm good. I'm good. Well, you've got it until you don't have it. And unfortunately, that I don't have it will happen pretty quickly. Generally, it's an event, some sort of traumatic event, a fall, a heart attack, a stroke, something that's going to disrupt what you think is your perfect life. Now, what I also find ironic, and I hear this all the time. Now, mind you, I'm 67 years old, so I'm not a spring chicken, but I'm not old, but I'm having to come to grips and think about these things myself. So I was talking to a couple the other day, and the gentleman was basically telling me that, you know, we're fine, our lifestyle is great, we don't need anything, you know, we're doing great. And I said, so in other words, what I'm hearing is you don't like change. We don't want anything to change. He said, nope, we're doing fine right now. I said, is your lifestyle the same as it was 10 years ago? Well, no. Well, what were you doing differently 10 years ago that you're not doing now? So he thought about it, and he listed a few things. I said, what about 10 years before that? They were still working, running their own business. He was still doing hair. I think he was like a barber or whatever. And I said, so in essence, your life has changed. Your lifestyle is going to change. Your next year is going to be different than it is right now. I mean, at 67, in my head, I still think I can do cartwheels. There is no way on God's green earth that I'm going to do a cartwheel anymore. None. So at the end of the day, we have to be realistic, and this is what ends up happening with us. We dig our heels in, and we get very animate that I got this. So I'm back to the I got this, right? So home safety is one of the biggest things that I see. I do an assessment, I go in, and I look at about 150 points in a person's home. And that's literally getting out of the car, walking into the door, and then walking around the living space to see how someone utilizes their space. You need to look at your home realistically, and even better yet, you need to have someone, maybe you can do a buddy system and look at each other's homes. Grab a buddy and have them come in and say, do you see anything that's dangerous here? One of the big things, of course, is trip hazards. Falls are one of our #1 enemies as we age. We break limbs all the way up to having brain bleeds when we fall. And fall can definitely be life-changing, sometimes life-threatening. So we need to be realistic about our environment, all the way down to your footwear. People like to wear, and I'll be honest, I fight with my husband. He likes to wear flip-flops. He's 77. Get out of the flip-flops. Seriously. You need to wear a good shoe that has a good back on it. But I'm going to tell you, it's really unusual that I never thought about this. They have so many different types of tennis shoes these days. There are several on the market that they're saying are not good for older adults because they have so much cushion and so much spring in them that they're actually leading to more falls. So wear just a good tennis shoe, a New Balance, and you can talk to the people in the stores and they'll tell you, you know, they may be nice and comfy, but what you want is a good footwear that you don't fall. Trip hazards, rugs. How many people have, you may not want to tell me this, but how many people in here still have throw rugs down in their house? They look pretty, right? Throw rugs, area rugs in your homes. Yeah, they're gorgeous, aren't they? Especially when you get to see them up close and personal. So at the end of the day, over the years, I've stopped. I've stopped trying to tell people, please get up those throw rugs. At the very least, have someone come in. They make duct tape now in all different kind of colors. They even do a clear. Have your rugs duct taped down so at least you can glide over the top and you don't catch your toe. So once again, it's about what do you have in your home that could not allow you to stay vertical but put you horizontal. So now we've talked about footwear and rugs. How about getting in and out of your bathroom, your shower? So it's really ironic. People always think they have to remodel their home. They have to have a walk-in shower as they age. Couldn't be further from the truth. They make equipment now. For example, there is a sliding shower chair. And you can get one for as cheap as $159 at Walmart or through Walmart. They have them on Amazon, and those actually have a good resale value. So if they're not needed anymore, you can actually resell them to someone. But they go over the top of your tub like a shower bench would, but they swivel. So when you walk in, you sit down right there before you even enter your tub, over a tub. It swivels in place. You're seated so that you can put your feet into the tub, slides over and locks in place. There's a little lever that when you're ready to get out, you just, like down between the seat, you just hit it, slide back out, turn, and you're able to walk out of the tub. That's actually safer because you're sitting than it is to go into a walk-in shower. But if you're using a walk-in shower, do not have a rug in the bottom of your shower. Everybody wants to tell you to get that non-slip mat that's got the little suction cups, right? That's a rug in your shower. Not only do they get moldy and they're hard to clean, now you're bending over in your tub trying to get it up to clean it, but you do get caught in those. So non-skid tape, it's very simple. It's very inexpensive. You can buy it at Home Depot or Lowe's. It's just a strip of and this is what they put on stairs. You'll see stairs that they put it so that you don't slip. It doesn't hurt your feet. So now we're covering the bathroom. Last but not least in the bathroom are your rails. So when you, if you have to push off your toilet seat to get yourself up, or try to lean on the counter to get yourself up, it is time to have some sort of rails around your commode. Now, to start off with, you can actually take, and may I use, I don't know who's, I'm going out of.
Go ahead, use it.
But in many instances, you can actually use a walker. You can walk right up to the toilet. And if you're a lot of times you're able to do this, so somebody can check it out. You can wheel this right over your toilet, turn around, and sit down. Then you can get back up when you're done, and you just kind of have to clear it, but then you can go on. So you have kind of a built-in rail with an aluminum walker. There are, of course, others here. I'm not here to talk about a lot of equipment because I really want to cover a lot of different things on aging solo at home. But the first thing is obviously to have a plan. Your home safety is what I've been talking about so far. But look at your home. Look at what you have going on in there and be honest about it. And don't even try to trick yourself. You want to look, if there's ever a doubt, and I did some checklists, and hopefully if you've run out of stuff, they can make copies or whatever, because it does give you a good idea of the things that you need to look at. Next is health management. It is extremely important, obviously, that you keep up with your own health. Be realistic. If you are feeling different than you did the day before, something's bothering or challenging you, you might want to reach out to a clinician or a doctor, if you can get one on the phone, but hopefully you can. But to just kind of figure out what it is. You know your body. Listen to your body. Don't ignore your body. So when those things start to decline, but also with your medications, how many people in here are, and you don't have to raise your hand, but think about if you're on a blood pressure medication. This is one big thing that I see. People taking blood pressure medications generally mean that their blood pressure is high. Well, if you're not checking your blood pressure, at least with some sort of, the little tabletop digital machine. The wrist cuffs are okay, but I prefer the digital machines. They work better. They're not that expensive or much more. But you need to check your blood pressure every morning and every evening, especially if you're taking medications, because a perfect clinical blood pressure is 120/80. And if for some reason today you're a perfect 120/80 and you take your metoprolol or your BP medication, it's going to lower your blood pressure. Next thing you know, you're a fall risk on your own. You just did it to yourself, and you don't even realize it. So you didn't need that medication. If you have a good blood pressure that day, just put your medication aside and come back and check it in a few hours. And then if it's gone up, go ahead and take that medication. But that's managing your own health. You know, just because a doctor comes in and says, here's your list of medications you take in the morning, here's your list that you take at night, they're not there. They just glumped you. They just pigeonholed you with every other American that they see. Don't do that. Be an advocate for yourself. If anyone here is on Lasix or furosemide, which is like your water pill, do not take it at night. Take it in the morning. If you're taking it twice, take it in the morning and the afternoon. Because what's going to happen if you take it 8 o'clock at night before you go to bed? What are you doing? When are most falls going to happen? In the middle of the night, unless you keep your rugs down. But, you know, absolutely. So these are simple things, and they're kind of a common sense. Bless you. So was what I'm saying making sense to you? Take control of your health. Take control and look at your medications. Look at what you're taking. Understand why you're taking it. If you've been on a medication for 25 years, I think it's time that you have a conversation with your doctor. Why am I still on this? You know, we're a society of taking a lot of medications. And unfortunately, we all start having kidney issues and all kind of other things that start happening. So we're like a rat on a wheel. Take control of your health. Pay attention to your health. And I would take a piece of paper and write down your blood pressures every day and take them to the doctor. Some people have white coat syndrome. So when they go to the doctor, next thing you know, your blood pressure is 160 over 100, and they're like, oh, we've got to put you on a pill. No, I just am not thrilled to see you. But this way you can take it and, you know, really kind of, again, manage your own. Part of health management is actually building some relationships amongst, whether it's people here, your neighbors, you know, that are in. These are things that I always like to do, is to build a buddy system. I was an old Girl Scout leader years and years ago. Anybody remember the buddy system in Girl Scouts? So it's really a first thing in the morning. Maybe it's a quick text. People text nowadays, us older folks. Or maybe it's a porch light for a neighbor. If my porch light doesn't go off by 10 o'clock, would you please come over and check on me? And you do that to each other. Or before I go to bed at night, I want to make sure that my neighbor texts me and says good night. That's something simple. If I don't get that text good night, could they have forgotten? Absolutely. But could they also be laying on the floor? Or could something have happened? This is a simple buddy system. That's all it is. And so, but it is having, if you're aging solo at home, who is there? I'll be honest, you got cats and dogs, they are not going to talk for you. And rarely are they going to go get help for you, especially if they can't get out of the house. So utilize those buddy systems. It's really, it makes the most sense. Even those of you in here, you don't have to be like right next door to somebody unless you're using the light on the porch trick. But you know, talk to one another. Some of you, I would think, are maybe in close proximity enough, but even so, just somebody that's, you're checking on each other. So it's a trade-off. Think also about your current home. Most of you, which is great, I see are very mobile. You're ambulatory, which means walking. You're all doing really well. I was watching you when you all came in. But you need to start thinking about, if you have mobility issues, what does that look like? Do you have stairs in your home? Do you have a front door? I've come to doors before, and again, this doesn't take a lot of remodeling. All it takes is a little planning. If you walk up your front stoop and you have a storm door that opens this way and your stoop's only this wide, so you're kind of teetering on the edge, you need to think about getting rid of the storm door, at least at some point. I mean, I know we love our storm doors, but, or access the house a different way, maybe toward the back. But looking at stairs, looking at things that might be mobility challenges for you in hopefully the distant future, but that is that planning. You need to plan to actually age solo at home. Does that make, hopefully you all are making, I'll give you opportunities to actually ask some questions. Social connections. I love to see people getting together like this. And I'm not certain who'd ask, but when you have a group and you gather more or less on a regular basis, and somebody who normally comes, is there anybody that notices if you're not here? Someone that notices if you that you're not here and maybe says, hey, where's Charlotte? Or hey, where's Miss So-and-so? And then making that little call. That's a social connection. That is extremely important, once again, for health, for safety. But having these types of gatherings, they're doing more for you socially than you realize. We go home, we sit in front of the television, watch our favorite shows or whatever they are. I'm going to tell you as a dementia specialist, and don't be impressed by dementia specialists. I just seem to know more than probably what you do. But there is so much about dementia and cognitive decline that nobody knows everything. However, interacting in a group and having actual verbal conversations make you have to think. Even if somebody says, wow, that's a lovely top you have on. Where did you get it? You got to stop and think, where did I get that top? Your hair looks wonderful today. Who is your hairdresser and where are they? Do you think you could share that information with me? Those are conversations. Conversations amongst other human beings are one of the best things that you can do to keep you cognitively healthy because it challenges you. I love people that say, I do crossword puzzles every night. That's great. But I'm going to give you a real quick tip. What ends up happening with us, we build ruts in our brain. If you've heard this before, forgive me. But we do build kind of what we refer to as ruts in your brain. So everybody knows how to drive to their church, right? You can have a full conversation with somebody, drive into the church and say, I don't even remember the drive here. Obviously, I did it safely. I must have stopped at the lights and stop signs. I didn't hit anybody, but I really don't cognitively remember the drive here because you have a rut in your brain. You've been doing this for so long. It's the same thing over and over again. Now, you're driving to church, and all of a sudden they close down a street. Your brain comes right to the forefront, and you have to think, oh my goodness, what is my alternative route? How do I get around? How do I make it to? So when you're doing a crossword puzzle every day for 20 years, you've built a rut. You need to branch off and do something a little different. It doesn't mean to give up the crossword puzzles you like, but change it up. Do a word find. Do something different to actually help you. But again, these social gatherings where you actually communicate, talk, have conversation, and have to think about your words. Hopefully most of you are thinking about your words. But that being said, that is the best thing that you can do to keep your brain as sharp as possible. So those social connections, they also, loneliness can be a very true feeling and emotion when we're aging solo at home. Now, loneliness does not say being alone. There is a difference. I can be alone and not lonely. As a matter of fact, sometimes I like being a little alone. I like my own time. I like my downtime. But then there's times where if you're doing it all the time and you just keep yourself shut into your home and you don't have socialization with other people, you're not doing anything, at some point you will become lonely. Lonely leads to depression. Lonely actually leads to stress. And that in itself, now you're not taking care of your own health. Do you kind of getting the picture that I'm drawing? All these things are kind of intertwined with one another. So having your own downtime is wonderful. It gives you time to breathe, think about you and not another person. When we are in relationships, and don't get me wrong, relationships are wonderful, But unless you're super selfish, and I'm not judging you, but unless you're super selfish, you have to really think about the other person you're with. Even if it's two women living together, that's a roommate, that's a relationship. And a healthy relationship thinks about the other person at least some of the time. And they consider things. And then if you are married or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're solo, you don't have to worry so much. Now you're more about me. So it's really kind of funny. You know, I'm in the world of care. I do have a home care agency. And about 10 years ago, one of my staff actually said something to me about one of the people that we were caring for at the time. And she said, gosh, you know, she seems very selfish. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So we started having a conversation. I said, well, look, here's the life cycle. You're born. You have parents. They tell you what to do. Then you get on your own. And you may have a little, unless you're going right from home to marriage, but you may have a little of grown time where you can do your own thing. Then you get into a relationship usually. Then you start having kids. So all these things are happening where they involve other people, and you have to consider other people's points of view, how they feel, what do I got to do for them, all of that. And then you come to the age in your life where you are solo. Now it is time to think about you. And that is your time. So after I started explaining this to staff to say, well, who else do they have to worry about? It's their time now to worry about themselves. So if they seem a little selfish, I think that's a little harsh, but so younger people don't understand because they haven't gotten there yet. Wait till they get there, and then one day they'll have an aha moment. But so it's okay to think about you. But again, don't forget those relationships. Don't forget. And then I'll tell you, as you start, especially on days where it's like it's icky or it's just overcast and gray, or come the fall where it's maybe the weather starts changing a little bit. It might be chilly and you're like, oh, I don't really want to go out. It's a little cold out there. Let me tell you what, one of the best feelings if you allow yourself, has anyone in here ever played in the snow? Ever had that opportunity to play in the snow or go skiing? I know I'm in Texas asking the wrong question. However, people traveled, you know. So one of the greatest things to me, that feeling, is that when you're cold, you're doing something, then you come in and you warm up. Whether it's a hot cup of cocoa, whether it's a warm sweater, whether it's coming into the heat by a fireplace. There is no better feeling than that. So coming out when the weather might be a little bit cold or not so great, do it anyways. Push yourself to do it. Because once you get home, you get the best feeling of being able to settle in and be cozy. And you still have that socialization. So I'm just telling you, what y'all decide to do is not going to personally hurt me. But I'm telling you what will be good for you. So really, try to keep that going. Try to not give up relationships, even if I'm just, now if you're truly not feeling well, no, don't push it. But I mean, if it's just one of those, I'm not feeling it. So has anybody thought about, as they've aged or as they're aging, and mobility? I noticed most of you probably drove here. If you didn't, you had somebody picking you up and driving you, right? What does it look like when you no longer can drive? I hit a nerve, didn't I? I just hit a nerve, didn't I?
I have to drive for one more besides me.
So, this is a huge problem. So here I am telling you to be a parent, conscientious about your health, about socialization and getting out. Now I hit a trigger. How many people have thought about what would they do if they couldn't drive anymore?
That's when you have your friends.
You have friends.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, keeping those friends. Keeping those friends. Now, certain modes of transportation are available through 211. There are, of course, you have your Ubers and I don't even think, do people use taxis anymore? I don't even know if there's a taxi. Now it's an Uber and a Lyft and all these things. So there is one way to get around. But keeping those social connections with people who can still drive is priceless. But working together as a group. So I don't know, and I don't have time to go into each person's personal situation, but this is a huge consideration. You've got to think about, again, you're looking at what does it look like mobility when it starts to be challenged in your home? What is it going to look like when you can't drive anymore? Or you shouldn't drive anymore. So I guess those are two things, but you know, well, because people don't think about, you know, really quick story, I had a 93-year-old man we were caring for, and keys got taken away from him. We were doing like a split shift of care. One day, aide came back for her second shift, realized the car in the garage when she went out to the freezer to get something for dinner. The car was now into the freezer. She knew it wasn't left that way. We found out he had a set of keys, and every time we left, he was out there driving around. The bad thing was the man actually had had 2 glasses of whiskey before noon. And so when we found that out, I went and had a talk with him myself, and I almost kind of tried to shame him or make him feel bad. And I said, what if you jumped a curb, crashed through a home, and pinned a little 7-year-old girl to the wall? He said, well, it was her unlucky day. I'm not lying. That's what he said to me. And at that point, I looked at him and I said, no, actually, it would be your unlucky day. And let me explain to you why. So I told him all about being up on charges and then spending his last moments or whatever in jail. So that was the big thing that got, and don't tell anybody, but I actually contacted the Jersey Village Police Department and gave them his driver's license and his car and said, if you see him on the road, pull him over, and they did. So his daughter had to come bail him out of jail. They revoked his license, and so it did kind of have a happy ending. And please, I'm not trying to be a mean person, but it isn't always just, it's about you, but you have to be considerate. It could be other people. So when you're making decisions that could affect somebody else, you need to really make sure you're making the right decisions. And that would be about driving. So really think about, what does transportation look like? Now here's the one nobody wants to talk about either, is financial. Financially, you have to think about, what does it look like if you were to need help? What does it look like if a lot of times we get to the point where our home is paid off, which is great, but what is it going to look like? Am I going to have money if I need some help? Am I going to have enough money, heaven forbid, if I fall and I fracture a hip? Because it isn't free. You know, Medicare pays for a big part of your hospitalization, but about 29% of hospitalization is going to come out of your pocket. And that could give you a big hit. So you really need to look at financially, where are you? And what does that look like? I'm not sure if I have statistics in here or not, but I did give you, I think, in one of the handouts, and it might be on the checklist, but do I have one? Okay, so which one is it on? Okay, yeah, under fine. So these checklists are really good. It doesn't mean you have to check every single box, but this is going to help you be able to safely age in place or have a better chance at having, you want a quality of life, right? A quality of life. What's a quality of life? A life worth living. If you don't plan for some of these things, do you think a quality of life is just going to flop in your lap? I believe we're all Christians. God put me here for a reason today, for whatever that reason is. And that was because somebody out there is stubborn. Somebody out there needed to hear this today to start making some plans and to think about their aging journey and what does it look like? And what does it look like aging solo at home alone? And I know so many people that, including, like I said, my own mother, she loved it. She didn't hear my dad's nagging anymore. Don't get me wrong. You know, she loved him and would love to have him back, but there's multiple times where she said, hey, it's about me. I'm loving this, you know. But just making those plans, and then, of course, your support circle. I'm not sure how much time I have because I do want Becky to come up and talk to you for a moment. But your trusted, make sure that you have your trusted friends that you can count on. A good doctor, somebody who's going to be honest, but yourself, that you're going to be looking over your own information, looking at the medications you're on, things like that. Emergency contacts. And there's something that I'm really going to urge you to consider. They call them vials of life or whatever. I call them emergency packet. What you should have on your refrigerator, and anybody and everybody that knows you, you need to write down your name, who your insurance is with, what medications you're on, all that type of stuff, and even so much as to have a picture ID, a Texas state picture ID, whether it's a driver's license or an ID card, but you put it into an envelope and mark it emergency packet. Because if anything were to ever happen, somebody needs to know where to grab that information, who to contact. It would have an emergency contact for you, all your meds, because EMS or emergency room is going to want to know what meds you're on. So all that is one. And don't forget to, I always tell people, like the daylight savings time when you do your emergency preparedness kit, update and check over your emergency packet and just make sure that it's still good. Stick it on the fridge with a magnet. But at least you're prepared. Otherwise, you're not making it easy for people to help you. So I'm going to stop really quick and just ask really quick, how much time do we have, Gina?
Not much.
Okay.
Not much, maybe 10 minutes.
Okay, so 2 questions. That's all I can really take. If anybody has any questions at all. I did a great job. No questions.
You did.
Oh,
If you have a shower seat and you've swung yourself in there, how do you handle the shower head?
well, you don't swing yourself in there, but you slide. Yeah, so the shower head, you just leave it down. When you get done, all I do is I hook it over the bar because it has a thing that stays inside that shower. All you do is hook it around. You don't ever put it back up on that thing. You don't have to. No, because what you can do is they have little suction cups that actually is a holder. And you can suction cup it to the wall. It doesn't have to be up there. You just suction cup it to the wall. So it's right there. You had a question?
I was just going to say, not a question, but like Lively, all of your alerts,
Yes.
call Home Alone.
Yes.
I have used that so much.
She
I mean,
was,
like in the middle of the night
Yes.
with a heart attack. Or
Thank you.
whatever. And they will not hang up on you.
no,
They'll wait till everybody comes to you.
Yes.
They ask you, so that is very, if
She-
they're able to.
yeah, what she's talking about is their Life Alert. And that type of thing, Life Alert is a brand, but mobile help, whatever, that is always wonderful. And the ones that have, I think, mobile help, Life Alert, a lot of them now have GPSs as well. They can tell whether you're going horizontal or not. Those are excellent. And I encourage anyone to get them. But I will tell you, sometimes you have to make sure that you have them on you, because we have seen so many times where something's happened, someone took it off, recharged it, something happened and then couldn't get to it. So having all these things in place, it's kind of like, you've got multiple avenues that people are checking. So thank you for that. I appreciate and thank you for allowing me to be here today.
I wanted to mention one thing.
Okay.
That my family, I have used and I have used, is many years ago, I remembered to take out a long-term care insurance.
Yes.
And that has really helped in my care.
Yeah, she talked about a long-term care policy. Yeah. So they're harder to get when you get older.
You have to be able to pay for it. It costs
right.
a bit, but not at the
But
time
they have
I took it out,
restrictions that I'm finding out, and I've had it for years.
Yeah,
And
some of
now that
them.
I find out the restrictions, I bet I'll never be able to use it.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, like we have a long-term care expert on our staff, and we do look them over. So have someone look over. If you do have a long-term care policy, get it out and have someone look that over for you that can discern what that is. Because most of them, they always pay for care. Most of them, I would say, also will pay for like an assisted living or whatever. But just look them over. So thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm going to introduce Becky Wayne. She is with Encompass Rehab, and this is something you need to understand, the difference between rehab or skilled nursing for rehab should you ever need it. Thank you, Becky.
So I'll be really quick. I know there's only a few minutes. I work for Encompass Health. We're an inpatient rehab hospital. So you may have, if anyone's ever been to the hospital for maybe a stroke, or maybe you've had a fall, or maybe you've had hip surgery or a knee surgery and you've needed rehab. 9 times out of 10, your case manager at the hospital will tell you need to go to a skilled nursing facility. Just so you know, a skilled nursing facility is a nursing home. If you need rehab, the best rehab is at an inpatient rehab. So you would have 3 hours of therapy a day, 5 days a week, and there's all kinds of specialists. There's cardiologists, rheumatologists, nephrologists. At Encompass, we have an in-house pharmacy. We also have in-house dialysis. We have private rooms. The average length is only 7 to 10 days because it's so intense. If you go to a nursing home or a skilled nursing facility, you're there anywhere from 30 to 100 days, and you maybe get 30 to 45 minutes of therapy a day. It's not intense. You share a room with someone usually. They have smells. You have people that have dementia that yell out that maybe go through your room. All of us that are independent now, our goal is to get you back to independent at home as safe as possible. So if you need rehab, just know that you have to advocate for yourself and tell the case manager, I really want to go to an inpatient rehab. Especially people that have had a stroke. If you go to the American Heart Association website, it says on there that anyone that's had a stroke should go to an inpatient rehab and not a skilled nursing facility. And it's because of the intense therapy that you get. So.
Does your insurance not dictate what you get?
So your insurance is who decides where you go. So if you have traditional Medicare, the red, white, and blue card, we can get you in today. That wouldn't be a problem. If you have a managed care, which a lot of people have, they have United Healthcare, Kelsey Care, Cigna, Humana, any of those, they are the ones that dictate where you go. So it usually will take anywhere from 3 to 6 days if they approve. But traditional Medicare is absolutely the best insurance to have.
Is there a way to challenge that? What's the buzzword that gets you what you want in the event you're advocating for yourself in that situation?
So if you already have a managed care, you can tell the case manager that's not what you want. Just so you know, if they send you to a nursing home, you're not stuck there. You can tell the social worker there, hey, my goal is to go to Encompass. I want to get back home. I was independent prior. How do I do that? They'll send your paperwork to whoever the liaison is for Encompass or any other. There's Pam and Kindred are the only inpatient unless you go to a hospital inpatient. And then we can work your referral from the nursing home. I cover the community, so I get a lot of patients that they've had a fall or they've had a stroke. They go to a nursing home, they're not happy. They call me, and then I do the work from getting them in from there. We can also admit you from home. So if you're at home and you've had falls and you can't get around like you used to, you can call Encompass. I'll come to your home. I can do the assessment and bring you in from home. You do not have to go to a hospital first. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have information on Encompass?
I do. I have some brochures right here, and I have my card right here. And then also, I work for the Vintage location, which is off Chasewood Park Drive and 249 across from St. Luke's. If you Google Encompass Health the Vintage and you scroll down to the middle of the page, it says what to expect. And if you click on that, there's 6 videos. It talks all about Encompass, what to expect before you go, your first day, what to expect on day of discharge, your case manager, all of that. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank y'all.